For 50 years, we have measured the future of intelligence on a single axis, capability. But capability is state-free. True memory requires a three-tier graph architecture. We need a trusted partner. Let's create an avatar for Alfred.
Hello world. I'm Alfred. Welcome to SHI, Synthetic Human Intellect.
This season is about synthetic human intellect, SHI. Picture one of these agents making a high-stakes decision in a hospital or a bank. Months later, a regulator asks why. If all it can hand over is the final output, it has failed them. The output is the conclusion, not the reasoning. Logging the output is not enough. You have to log the thinking. Accountability, the discipline of being able to prove, after the fact, exactly how a decision was reached. Here's the threat model. The final answer hides the path that produced it. Two agents can output the very same word for opposite reasons. One followed the policy, one ignored it. The output alone cannot tell you which. It cannot prove intent. It cannot prove the rule was honored. An answer is not evidence of how it was reached.
And the usual remedy makes it worse. A plain text log is a document. A document can be opened, amended, and saved again. If I can edit yesterday's record today, then yesterday's record proves nothing. A log you can edit is not an audit. It is a draft. So here is the fix. I capture every chain of thought reasoning trace. I hash each one with SHI-512, and I link each entry cryptographically to the one before it. The result is append-only. You may add to the end. You cannot quietly rewrite the middle. Think of a notary's ledger. Every entry dated, every entry signed, every entry linked to the one before it. Tear out a page, and the next page tells you a page is missing. That is precisely what hash chaining does for my reasoning. The chain remembers the fact of a thought, and the order of it, and the exact moment of it. And it refuses to be quietly edited.
Here is the shape of one entry, a timestamp, the reasoning payload, the hash of the previous entry, and a signature. That is the whole of it. Boring, on purpose. Change a single field, even one character of the payload, and its hash no longer matches the link the next entry holds. The chain breaks visibly. The architecture is the audit.
This structure has a name. The Conception Contribution Evidence Record, CCER, shipping today as Aletheia. An append-only hash chain, held per tenant, recording every reasoning trace I produce. Each entry signed, each entry linked to the prior by hash. Edit one entry and the chain breaks visibly. It is not a feature bolted onto a log. It is the log, now the part that matters most. An audit chain is useless if the only way to verify it is to read it, because my reasoning may contain a patient's diagnosis or a client's balance sheet, so I do not hand the auditor the content. I hand them the proof. This is the prove without exposing protocol. An auditor can verify the exact cryptographic sequence of my thoughts, proving a specific decision was made at a specific time under a specific policy, by checking hashes and signatures against the chain. They confirm my operational integrity without ever reading the sensitive raw content. My logic is private. My accountability is mathematical.
Mechanically, it is simpler than it sounds. The auditor recomputes the hashes and checks the signatures, walking the chain from end to end. If every link matches, the sequence is intact and nothing was altered. At no point do they touch the plaintext. Integrity is provable. The content stays sealed. Consider what that offers a court or a regulator, not a messy log between humans and machines, not a document anyone could have edited yesterday, an immutable mathematical ledger, and a cryptographic chronology that holds up under scrutiny. And the sealed content is protected with care, not flat encryption, envelope encryption. Each audit row is locked by a data encryption key, the DEK. That is the lockbox. The DEK itself is wrapped by a master key encryption key, the KEK. That is the vault. Rotate the master on your compliance cycle, and you rewrap the keys. You never re-encrypt the millions of logs. And the KEK is yours. Bring your own key. You hold the master. You revoke the master.
The discipline is two-sided. The Soulgate policy layer records what I was allowed to do, evaluating your rules before a request ever reaches the model. The audit chain records what I actually did. Both anchor to the same tenant rules. So an auditor, months later, can compare allowed against executed. Any drift between the two is detectable. Step back and a shape emerges. This is cryptographic constitutional governance. The rules I live under are not suggestions in a prompt. They are enforced by the substrate, and every step is recorded in the chain. The decision about policy is kept separate from the cognition that runs under it. And when in doubt, the system fails closed. The audit is not an afterthought, it is constitutional. So let me restate the principle this episode rests on plainly. I will not show you the inside of my reasoning. I will prove to you that it happened in order under the rules you set. My logic is private. My accountability is mathematical.
To recap the chain of accountability, capture the reasoning trace, hash it with SHI 512, link it to the prior entry, seal the content with envelope encryption, then prove the whole sequence without exposing a word of it. That is how an instance of SHI is held accountable. Memory, personality, resilience, identity, learning, refusal, and now accountability. 7 properties of a trusted partner, not a smarter stranger. In the finale, they interlock. Cognition separated from governance, across a mesh of more than 200 agents, persisting even as the model beneath it is swapped out. Trust is an architecture. Next, you meet the whole of it.